Have we started?
Okay, go.
Okay. So welcome to our CAS interview. This is a bit of an innovative step to try and look at doing not only meetings but a reflection process on camera so that it reduces the need for written reflection. So this is an experimental take on this activity, this necessary activity for CAS. Emily, I'd like you to take me through where your CAS is at the moment. What are your current activities? What are your planned activities?
Well, I've just finished doing my coaching with Millie for the under-10s netball team, and that was a very rewarding experience. And I feel like I really enjoyed that. But my next one, because that's finished now, I've started. One of my family friends has been told to be the executive of the International Justice Mission, and so I've set up my CAS with her, and then so I'm going to have my introduction on the 7th of December. So that would be really exciting, and I'll be able to help her when she goes to present talks to other people, and I think that would be.
So that's going to be one of your service activities?
Yeah.
Is it exclusively service, or is there any creativity required on your
There
part?
will be some creativity because I might have to create brochures or something like on Photoshop, and
All right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk through some of the things. I noticed in your managed back that you've pretty good on your outcomes, but some outcomes such as awareness of global values and ethics are a little bit underdone. Do you see any way that you'll be able to work on those in your upcoming activities, particularly the one you just mentioned?
Yeah, I thought that would be a good way to do it in the International Justice Mission, because it's looking at ethical issues like people who have, in developing countries, who have been accused and put in jail for the wrong reasons. So I thought that would...
That's excellent. Okay. In terms of ethics, in some of your other activities, you've done peer tutoring for French, coaching an under-10 netballs team. Were there any ethical issues there? Like, I'm just wondering that you haven't, acknowledged those, but I couldn't imagine that that will be something that you could have totally ignored.
Yes, I think that I should learn to document that better, because like in the netball one, I could, obviously working with young children, there'll be lots of ethical issues there.
Were there any that came up when you were doing your netball?
Well, if there was no parents, we made sure that there was always one parent supervisor, but at one time there was not a parent supervisor. So we just had to be careful when people were going to get a drink or something, because it's public bathrooms. So we made sure that they were in twos and kept track of everyone.
That's fantastic. Well, I reckon you should...
with that, because I was also part of that netball experience. But for Emily and I, there was a big balance between trying to do what was best for the team and then also trying to foster the skills within each of the individual players. So there were moments when we were trying to, on game day, where we were trying to sort of work out who would be best players in each position. And there was a line between working out whether this would give a certain child a good opportunity to practice their skills, or if that child would actually be an asset or perhaps hinder the team because their skills weren't so developed and refined. So we were constantly having to sort of toss up between fairness to each of the children and then for the good of the team.
Well, I'm happy for you to include that as part of what you're achieving there. Lastly, Emily, what have you got for action?
I've been doing triathlon training, and so I've been setting goals. Like I did a half marathon, and there's the triathlon season is coming up now. So the triathlon got moved to the 1st of December, so that was my next goal. And then eventually there's club championships, and then later I want to try and do the Ironman.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that's great. Are you putting down in your managed back the times that you're actually achieving with training and logging very specific measures of achieving certain goals?
There's an app which I use, and it's called Strava, and it does your pace, elevation, all these different things.
And can you download that to manage back in any way?
Well, I just typed it up.
All right. Okay. Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you. And I guess we've got some clear goals of you working on that. We'll come back to your project when everyone can discuss that at the next. Emily, we've moved to you,
Yes.
Emily Bull. So let's let's. Can you just run through your current progress with your CAS program?
So I've just really sort of come to a point where I've finished quite a few of my projects. I've sort of in the
Your
process,
activities?
my activities. I'm in
Yeah.
the process of wrapping up the Central Desert trip, which was a really good experience for opening my eyes to the issues of global importance and ethical issues. And I've now got lots of aspirations to try and set up new projects that will enable me to sort of take what I've learned and share that with other people. I'm also doing night patrol for service, and that's been a really surprisingly enjoyable experience because I've been able to hear a lot of the stories from people who are homeless, and it's not as depressing as I would have anticipated because a lot of them actually are just looking for somebody to talk to, and it's they were very humanised in my eyes from something that was a very drastic sort of national problem to something that it actually requires people to engage with people to solve it.
Well, I reckon if you haven't, that sounds like there's things in terms of challenge, awareness and initiative that you could be acknowledging there. I can see from your manage back that the global and ethics, the ones that trip up a lot of people, if you've been able to connect that with the Central Desert program, please make sure that you're documenting that as well. But that's fantastic. Did you tell me what your action was?
At the moment, I've just sort of finished my action. I was doing netball and I finished water polo as well.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I'm working on setting up a swimming so I can start doing swimming throughout the summer months.
All right.
And
well, it's a while since netball's finished, so I think, you know, you may even be able to stretch a point with the Central Desert program of having some action involved with that as well, because the physical work that you would have done, some of the hiking that you would have done through places like Katajira, you could include in that. So let's look at, you know, the broad sense of what you've been able to achieve there.
And then in terms of creativity, I've just started the Monty Musical, which is a really new challenge for me because I've never done any formal like singing, dancing, acting lessons, although I actually now am thinking in a creative direction in terms of my sort of future aspirations, that I'd like to work in the design side of production and everything. So this is going to hopefully expose me to some of the challenges of working in that sort of...
I'm not a huge musical fan and I don't usually come and see many of the Monty musicals, but Hairspray is a little bit out there. I'm going to be there to see you do your thing.
Incredibly, it kind of helps also because there are so many sort of racial issues and prejudice issues in the musical that I can start thinking about sort of ethics and stuff like that, because there are obviously issues in the way that the musical is presented that we don't accidentally offend. Because although the ultimate message of the musical is about equality, we don't want to, in our means to express that, making faux pas or whatever.
All right. Can also compliment you on the fact that you've got your CAS completion forms logged on ManageBack, and that's something that a lot of students aren't doing, so thank you for doing that, and we need to get the message out there that as part of finishing an activity, that completion form needs to be up there, so good on you. Is everyone enjoying their gourmet sandwiches?
Loving it.
Supplied by our IB coordinator, Mrs. Priestley. It's great that there's a CAS budget, and I don't really know how I talked her into this, but you know, it was a bit of a hook to get this experimental activity going. It's good, not too much vegetables, enough chicken. How is it?
It's wonderful.
Delicious. All right. Okay. Well, it's good that you can eat, dance, sing, and do reflections at the same time. Amy, you'd be next. Oh, she says, oh. Amy loves her CAS when she's not underwater. Sorry, I didn't.
That's part of my CAS.
Yeah, I know that. Talk to me a little bit about what's your current activity, Amy.
Well, I've just finished up my community and creativity in Learn to Swim, where I was doing 20 hours teaching kids to swim.
And that's wonderful. That's just such a beautiful thing that you're doing. And what area have you got such expertise? That's great.
Yeah, and I feel like it really helps, like ethically with the kids, like teach them so they won't drown. And it was like a global thing. There's a lot of drowning in Australia at the moment, young children. So it's a main part to teach them water safety. So I was really happy to do that.
Does that require any initiative on your part?
initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd imagine it would, but you've got nothing logged against your initiative outcome. So need to just be thinking laterally in terms of you're probably doing it, but it's just how you tabulate that against you. So right, keep going.
I'm signing up for the school play and pace break to do backdrop or.
You're doing the underwater scenes.
What about it? Unfortunately, no, there's none this time. I'm signing up to do costumes or backdrop, either one, because I like either one's creative and I like designing things.
Brilliant.
Mostly backdrop, probably.
Yeah. Can I just identify there's nothing in your journal about that?
Yeah, I've only signed up today for it. So I was going to.
So it's right for the entry.
Yeah,
okay.
go right in today.
See you tonight.
Yeah, see you tonight.
Okay, see you online tonight.
Yes.
All right, keep going.
Swimming is like going progressively through mine because my goal is to with swimming is to improve my times on my main events for like 100 breaststroke, 100 freestyle, and it's likely because long course season starting again this week. So the next few weeks I have carnivals coming up where I can see if my progress with swimming has improved my times and see if my commitment has gone well.
Okay, that's good. Have you put in, going back to house plays, is there a completion form for that? No, there isn't. Oh, there is. You are ace. There is. Are you surprised?
Yes.
Okay. All right. She's across a CAS in various ways. It's clear to me you're doing a lot of CAS, but I think your documentation is a little bit under the waterline. Okay, so nice that we might be able to upload this, and this would be part of it, but you've got to actually do the documentation. That's really quite important. Could I emphasise that with you? And working on your achievement of outcomes. All right, thank you very much. A rich program, fantastic. So I'll just say for service, you've got was learned to swim, but you said that's finishing.
Yeah, my service will go into them. I actually had something open. I was going to look into. There's last year for my community service for school, I worked for a certain preschool, and I got to really love the kids and the women who work there. So I'm going back for my CAS periods probably to go to work there again because they have my information, they know me, I know the younger children who work there.
I guess the important thing is that you need to set yourself new goals.
Yeah.
It's not steady as she goes and what you did in year 10. You need to say, all right, talk to the staff there and say, all right, I know I did this before, but CAS requires me to step up and do new challenges, so I need to see what those new challenges are before I approve that. Right? Can you make that explicit in your request for approval?
Okay.
Thank you. Good job. Isobel.
So I think similar to Amy, I've done a lot of stuff, but I haven't put it in the internet. So
I hear you're a pretty bad girl.
very bad.
I'm only joking. I know you're not. My comment is that so far in looking at your achievement of outcomes, you've been able to look at a lot of those and consider a lot of those. There's quite a lot of reflections in some of your activities, but things like your project, we're seeing zero reflections, so you probably need to look at some better documentation there. But anyhow, just talk me through where your CAS is at the moment and what your upcoming plans are.
Well, I've been doing a lot of ongoing activities, so sailing, which obviously at the start of the end of the year, so I'm going to do a big sign-off when I finish kind of this season. So that's my action.
Yes.
And then I've been able to use a lot of, because I'm also doing the Fit goal thing, so I've been able to use a lot of the stuff I'm doing from that.
Absolutely,
as
definitely.
CAS, which again is an ongoing thing, but also the expeditions, which are action. I think I've got the practice one up there.
Yeah.
And then for creativity debating, which is good because it addresses the elusive outcome of the global one. And that again is an ongoing thing.
Okay, fantastic. All right, is debating still going?
Well, it's a lot of different things. So the season's finished, and then a festival speech. Now we're doing a debating training program. So it was all debating, but.
Okay, I'm happy that you're all with it. That's wonderful. Okay. All right. Well, there's pretty solid achievement of outcomes. There's one, your Anzac Scholarship Tour completion forms there. Is there any others that you think you need to get up?
I should get the junior med ones up
Okay,
soon.
all right. Okay, and what about we work in the library?
That's for a junior med, that's
Is it?
again for junior med, so when I get my sign off for junior med.
Could you explain to me exactly what you're doing in the library?
What I'm doing in the library, I work in the local history, local studies section, so I go through all the newspapers and find articles that relate to the Lancove area and Lancove citizens.
Right, yeah.
And then,
So I'm just touching base with the idea that it shouldn't just be sort of filing and putting books on shelves, that you're actually doing this stuff, and that's great. And I was pretty sure of that, but I just sort of making the point for everyone's sake that it's got to be something that you're dynamically involved in, and rather than just sort of menial work and stuff like that.
yeah.
Okay. Right, that's fantastic. Girls, can we talk about your project? Who wants to start?
I'll start the ball rolling. So we decided that we would like to create a sort of memorial within Monty that commemorates the service of Monty men and women during the wars.
Yes.
And we've made a lot of progress in the last couple of weeks with our project.
Has anyone done any entries and reflections on that?
I've done one, but I need to get up to date with this week's progress.
All right. Well, it's good that it's happening now, but we've had, and it's been an idea for a while, but we need to actually see a little bit more
So
product.
I've had a few meetings with,
we had a meeting with
Miss
Ms.
McGovern.
We were supposed to meet with Ms. Christensen to pitch an idea to her, but unfortunately she was during the meeting that we scheduled. She was in another meeting. So we talked to Ms. McGovern in the interim about our idea. So she's given us the protocol that we need to do a more formal pitch to Ms. McGovern about, to Ms. Christensen, sorry, about what we like to do, which is to create a memorial in the new Arts and Cultural Common.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, within Monty, like all the different spaces have a certain thing that they celebrate. Like Mercy Hall is like sort of the Mercy Sisters, and then McEwen Centre is about Mother Ignatius McEwen, and then we have
CNP,
CNP, which is about the Aboriginal connection, and we really love
And
that
Catherine
we
McCauley, yeah.
could create a statement about service in this new Arts and Cultural Centre.
and
I think
it's an especially important year in 2014.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the centenary, which I think is perfect.
I think you really don't want to find yourself at a roadblock if she says no, it's not appropriate for that space. All right. So probably you need to get that approval sorted ASAP, and be flexible. It might need to be in another place.
we're very happy to have it in another space, but that's our current thinking.
Okay. Right.
And we also met with Miss NG this week, who's a college archivist, and she's given us some of the information that there is about service at Monty. She said that there aren't very comprehensive lists of people who've served simply by the nature that the college archives about what happens at the college and afterwards. But there are a couple of ex-students that she was aware of who were nurses during the war, and she's given us their family history to borrow, and she's also given us a different ex-student book that documents like significant figures since their graduation, and these dollars are documented for their services during the war.
And do you have any of the history teachers working with you on this? Miss McKinley?
Yeah, we've got him behind us because he's so into the war and stuff, and he's given us lots of really great suggestions about directions that we could go in.
And who's your supervisor for this project?
Kristen.
Okay, that's what I thought. So that's good. All right. Are there any ethical issues with this project?
I think so. I mean, what Miss Angie was saying yesterday is...
Can I just comment? I think culturally appropriate way of saying that is Miss.
That's how she introduced herself.
Yeah, I know. Okay, that's curious, isn't it?
Yeah.
And maybe
It's because
that's her choice, but as
So, yeah.
an Asian studies teacher from another lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was saying one of our ideas was to interview other people who may have been involved in the war. And I think the issue surrounding that is that people don't really want to talk about it. It's a sensitive issue. So that's big ethical concern. So maybe we won't do that. It might be a bit too difficult for them.
And another concern that we had, which I think we might have sort of already resolved, is that if we did try and document all the people who've served, there'd be a very high chance that we'd forget someone, or not forget them, but we just wouldn't be able to find the information.
And if you put something up and all of a
you
sudden...
put something up and it's formal, and all of a sudden you don't want to disrespect or discredit someone's service to the country or whatever. So
I think
we decided to go for a more generic monument.
Just a memorial.
And potentially something that's not just about future, about the past, but it can also be about future efforts and respect to the people in the future who will be important as much as the best ever.
And maybe even such global values as peace.
Yeah.
You know, like I guess that's my shtick on that sort of thing, that I really think in terms of the future and peace, there should be some of the clear and explicit goals that we have. I'd like to be able to share with you a project that a student of mine worked on some years ago regarding her father's involvement in the Vietnam War. And maybe it's not the direct involvement of war of a particular multi-student, but also father, but there's I think some important ethical issues there. So I might give you a copy of that report, and if you've got time to have a look at it, it may be just a consideration, particularly in some of the ethical issues that come up with things like post-traumatic shock and stress disorders and stuff like that, and how difficult that is to deal with.
Yeah, because we also were thinking with the memorial, we would make almost like a website or book, like documenting like some of like some of the stories and like even things that happened in the war, like.
Yeah, because what we were feeling is if we made this generic monument, there's no doubt that we'll probably find some very specific information about these people. And for my PP all the way back in year 9 and 10, I did my family history, and I found that knowing the name of an ancestor from the 1600s is meaningless unless you know who they were and what they did and everything. So if we can create like faces behind these great stories and really show the human side of war, then I think that'd be really fantastic.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming here together for this meeting. I think it's a reasonable substitute for writing reflections. It's a bit of an experiment to see how this rolls. So let's see if we can effectively, if this is recorded well, we can upload it to your ManageBack, and we'll see how that rolls. So thanks for coming on.